welcome everybody to Morning Flow here. I'll adjust the camera in a sec. My name is Mark Cormier. I'll be working with Kathy Cormier, my wife, and we'll do about 50 or so minutes of yoga, and we're glad to have you here with us, and we'll get going real soon. All right. I might as well get us going here. So I invite you to come to the top of your space. I'll invite you to bring your hands on your hips. And we'll start just by finding our feet as we march it from side to side. Now letting that marching get a little less obvious as we stay grounded through both feet, just rocking it from side to side. And then finding your center vis-a-vis, side to side. Now let's find it front to back here. As we lift up the heels, rocking back to the heels, lifting up the toes. And just back and forth like this. And then making it less obvious as we stay grounded through both the heels and the toes, just rocking it front to back. And then finding your center vis-a-vis, front to back. Pretty much just using the feet, keeping the ankles and the knees and hips relatively set as we circle the circumference of the feet. And then taking those circles the other way. And then finding the center of your foot. At this point, let me introduce Kathy. How are you doing today, Kathy?
Doing well. I just was dealing with a little spill.
All right. Well, that happens. Spills happen.
Yes.
And right on. So even if we have some yoga spills today, we can always deal with them, right?
I hope so.
Just take a breath. And one of my musician friends taught me a new word yesterday: uncoil. So when something happens, just uncoil. Take a breath. All right. So you've already found your feet. So now you have a choice to make. You're going to keep them nice and wide, or you're going to narrow the stance to challenge your balance.
Go wide for a few minutes.
All right, keep them wide for a few minutes. All right, so let's warm up our shoulders here. Inhaling, arms up and over the head. Exhaling, arms back down. 2 more times like this. Inhaling, arms up. Exhaling, arms down. Inhaling, arms up. Exhaling, arms down. Adding a forward fold and a little bit of a back bend. Inhaling, arms up. On the exhale, leading with the heart as you fold. Take a breath to find length. I'll invite you to let your hands cap your knees as we arc the back. On the exhale, I'll invite you to let your hands catch the back of your shins as we round and fold again. Inhaling, arms out to the side, moving towards a neutral spine, leading with the back of the heart, arms out to the side and then overhead. On the exhale, standing tall. 2 more times like this. Inhaling, arms up. On the exhale, leading with the heart as you fold. Take a breath to arc the back. On the exhale, arching the spine as we fold. Inhaling, leading with the back of the heart, hinging at the hips, arms out to the side and then overhead. Exhaling, standing tall. 1 more time like this. Breathing in. And breathing out. Breathing in. And breathing out. Inhaling up. Exhaling, standing tall. I'll ask you to go sideways, Kathy. At home, you can stay just as you are. And at home, you don't have to worry about staying in the frame. Kathy will make certain adjustments to do that. But again, at home, you don't have to do that. Sunsele. Inhaling, arms up. Out to the side and then overhead. Inhaling. On the exhale, finding a forward fold. Take a breath to arc the back. On the exhale, arching the spine and grounding down through the hands. I'm not going to cue vinyasa on this first one. So once you've grounded down, just finding your down dog. Yeah, there you go. In down dog, I'll invite you to walk your dog as you bend one leg deeply, grounding down through the opposite heel. And then finding that stretch on the second side. And then freely moving back and forth between the sides, just stretching it out. How's everything feel this morning? What feels tight? What feels right? What feels somewhere in between? From this place of movement, I'll invite you to move back towards relative stillness. Long arms, long legs, long spine, deep, full breath. And even though there's a lack of overt movement, you're still breathing, your heart's still beating, your mind's still moving from thought to thought. And by focusing on your breath, finding a little more space between each breath, each beat of the heart, each thought, and breathing into that space. Tail end of your next breath, bending the knees ever so slightly to lift the tailbone just a little bit higher, more space in the low back. And then looking between the hands as you mindfully make your way to the front of your yoga space, your mat. Take a breath to arc the back when you arrive. Yeah, really feel that arc there, that nice. On the exhale, arching the spine as you fold again. On the inhale, leading with the back of the heart, hinging at the hips, moving towards a neutral spine. Arms out to the side, and then overhead. A little wardrobe malfunction, and exhaling, standing tall. Second one, just like the first, but this time I will cue vinyasa. Inhaling, arms out to the side, and then overhead. On the exhale, finding your forward fold. Take a breath to find length as we arc. On the exhale, arching the spine as we fold, and then grounding on down. And I'll invite you to cycle through a push-up with or without the knees, chaturanga. Inhaling into up dog or cobra. And then rolling over the toes, back to your down dog, and holding. And either holding that down dog in stillness, or walking the dog as you bend one leg deeply and then the other. Whatever feels right and good for you.
Change my clothes.
You're fine, Kat.
Okay, cool.
Nothing too obvious here. And if you chose to add movement, moving back towards stillness. In down dog, tail end of a breath, bending the knees ever so slightly as you lift the tailbone a little higher, more space in the low back, and then looking between the hands as you mindfully make your way front. All right, nice jump. Take a breath to find length as we arc. Exhaling, arching. Inhaling, hinging at the hips, arms out to the side and then overhead. Exhaling, standing tall. Let's do one more sun salé. We'll throw a plank into the mix. Inhaling, arms out to the side and then overhead. Inhaling. On the exhale, finding your forward fold. Take a breath to find length. And then on the exhale, rounding the spine as you ground on down and making your way back to down dog as you will. Take your time. Find your flow. Follow your breath. Now, feeling free to hold your down dog just as you are at home for the purposes of this class in this room. I'll invite you to demo a moving plank. Inhaling forward to plank. On the exhale, navel to spine as you lift the hips high. 2 more times like this. Inhaling forward. Exhaling, drawing it back. Inhaling forward. Exhaling, drawing it back. Now taking it further. Inhaling forward to plank, shoulders stay engaged, but let the hips heavy, up dog with tucked toes. That's it. Does that feel okay in your shoulders? You're going really big on this. I want to make sure it's okay. Mm-hmm. And then navel to spine as you lift your hips high. A couple more times like this. Inhaling forward, finding your up dog with tucked toes. Navel to spine as you lift the hips high. One more time. Inhaling forward. Exhaling, drawing it back. And then holding your down dog. And either holding it in stillness or adding some movement. Whatever feels right and good for you. This is your practice. If you chose to add movement, moving back towards stillness. Tail end of a breath, bending the knees ever so slightly as you lift the tailbone a little higher. And then looking between the hands as you step or take that jump front. Nice jump. Take a breath to find length. Hands can cap the knees as you arc. Exhaling, catching the back of the shins as you fold. Inhaling, hinging at the hips, leading with the back of the heart, arms out to the side and then overhead. On the exhale, standing tall. Second warm-up exercise, Sun Salutation B. Flow style. Inhaling into a chair, knees over toes, hands overhead. Exhaling, taking it lower. On the inhale, glutes engaged, supporting a back bend at the top, open heart, open throat. On the exhale, a big swan dive over. Take a breath to arc the back. On the exhale, arching the spine as you fold, and then grounding on down and making your way back to down dog as you will. Either cycling through vinyasa, stretching straight back, or maybe making another choice instead. Always finding a balance between your effort and your ease. From down dog, flow style. Big toes touch, heels slightly apart. Right leg high to the sky. High in the left toes for a nice Achilles tendon and calf stretch. And then looking between the hands as you bring that right foot through, spinning the back heel down, arms out to the side and then overhead. Inhaling. And then on the exhale, back to your low lunge as you spin that back heel up. And then back to down dog as you will. Either cycling through vinyasa or stretching straight back, your choice. Second side, big toes touch, heels slightly apart. Left leg high to the sky, high on the right toes. Looking between the hands, bringing that left foot through, landing it lightly, spinning the back heel down, arms out to the side, and then overhead for our warrior one. And then riding the exhale, back to low lunge. And from low lunge, back to down dog, as you will. Again, take your time. Awesome. Kathy's an awesome yoga model because she moves very deliberately, so you can see each and every one of her actions.
I wish I could do this all day long.
There you go. Professional yoga model.
Oh, I just mean deliberate in my movements.
Oh, deliberate movement. Yeah, well, you can do it all day long.
That's true. I can practice.
As my musician friend says, uncoil. You don't always have to play the notes so fast. All right. Tail end of her breath, bending the knees ever so slightly as you lift the tailbone a little higher. More space in the low back. And then looking between the hands as you mindfully make your way to the front of your mat. Take a breath to find length. Exhaling, fold it. Inhaling, finding your chair pose, knees over toes, hands overhead. Exhaling, taking it lower. Inhaling, rising on up, open heart, open throat. On the exhale, neutral spine, hands by your side. Let's do one more sun style B. We'll throw a hip opener into the mix. Inhaling into your chair. Exhaling, taking it lower. Inhaling, rising on up. On the exhale, a big swan dive over. Take a breath to find length as you arc. Yeah, really feel that arc. Really melt the middle of the back. Nice. On the exhale, folding again. And grounding on down and making your way back to down dog. As you will, either cycling through vinyasa or stretching straight back. Yogi's choice. Flow style, big toes touch, heels slightly apart. Finding a three-legged dog, right leg high to the sky. High in the left toes. Keeping that right shoulder anchored, lifted leg straight, twisting from the torso as we stack the hips. And try not to move that shoulder.
No.
Shoulder just as they are. Now bending that top leg, opening up that hip.
Moving the other shoulder.
We'll try to keep the shoulders just as they are. You don't want to be a torso twist. And then bringing that right foot on through, spinning the back heel down. I want to minimize the stress on your shoulders. Finding your warrior one. Also want to maximize the twist of the torso. And then on the exhale, back to your low lunge. And then back to down dog, as you will. Yeah, shoulders tend to be tricky, so we can keep them stable. It's a good default mode. Second side, big toes touch, heels slightly apart. Left leg high to the sky, high on the right toes. Trying to keep the shoulders just as they are, twisting from the torso as you stack the hips. Now bending that leg, opening up that hip. Now looking between the hands, bringing that left foot through, spinning the back heel down, arms out to the side and then overhead. Inhale. And then riding that next exhale back to low lunge. And from low lunge, back to down dog as you will. wherever you choose to work. Coming back to Samarviti, same breath. An even inhale, followed by an equally even exhale. Every aspect, length, duration, intensity, location. From down dog, a long, slow breath in. An equally long, slow breath out. Tail end of that breath, bending the knees ever so slightly as you lift the tailbone a little bit higher. And then looking between the hands as you step or take a jump front. Take a breath to find length. On the exhale, folding. Inhaling, knees over toes, hands over head for your chair. On the exhale, taking it lower. Inhaling, rising on up. On the exhale, neutral spine, hands by your side. I'll invite you to face the camera, Kathy, as you bring hands to heart. A light press of your thumb against your sternum as you line up each finger. Coming back to your breath, watching as it flows in and out. And then hands by your side. Either stepping or jumping those feet hip width apart. Working with our fire breath, short, sharp exhalations out through the nose. As we inhale, arms up to one side. On the exhale, passing hands through center. And then second side. We're halfway done. A couple more each way. And then back up. And either stepping it or jumping it back in. We'll play with our chair a little bit here. Inhaling into our chair. Exhaling, taking it lower. Now holding the chair, I'll invite you to lift up onto your toes. Awesome, and hold that for 2 or 3 breaths. Keeping the heels lifted, can you take it a little bit lower? Now grounding down through the heels, pushing into your feet to straighten those legs, rising on up, open heart, open throat. And then a big swan dive over, finding your forward fold. And take your time. Finding length as hands cap the knees, you want to arc the back. Exhaling, rounding the spine as you fold again. And then I'll ask you to go sideways again. And then making your way back to down dog as you will. Maybe cycling through vinyasa or just stretching straight back, your choice. We'll start the sequence with that hip opener again. Big toes touch, heels slightly apart. Right leg high to the sky. Keeping the shoulders just as they are, twisting from the torso, stacking the hips, lifted leg stays straight, nice. Now bending that lifted leg, opening up that hip, awesome. And then looking between the hands, bringing that right foot through, spinning the back heel down, arms out to the side, and then overhead for your warrior one. In warrior one, I'll invite you to bring hands back to the hips, if appropriate, shifting weight onto the front foot as you go a little longer in your stance. And if you're already at your max, you'll stay right there. Keeping that, I'll invite you to stretch those hands high to the sky. From here, adding breath and movement, straightening the front leg without locking the knee, breathing in as we gather up the energy. On the exhale, cactus arms, 6 times. Breathing in and breathing out. Oh, shit. Breathing in. Oops. Breathing out. Oh, that was my coffee. Breathing in and breathing out. Last 2 here. Breathing in and breathing out. Last one. Breathing in. Breathing out in, holding your cactus arms. As we hold the shape, the elbows move back, the hands come with, rippling those fingers, just enjoying the stretch. Nice. Now bringing those hands to your hips. And let's turn warrior one hips into warrior two hips as we steer the hips sideways. Narrowing the stance, classic heel to arch alignment. And then finding one long arm, looking out over those front fingers with a mixture of effort and ease. Yeah. And then I know, I like to think spell fingers on that front one, like you're casting a spell. Nope, not for you. Okay. We all have our own inspiration. From here, painting rainbows, breathing in and breathing out. Breathing in, yeah, fluid. And breathing out 6 times. Take it slower. Breathing in, there it is. And breathing out. Halfway down, breathing in and breathing out. Really feel the rainbow that you're painting with each finger. Breathing in And breathing out. Last one here, finding your reverse warrior, inhaling and holding. Reaching up higher, reaching down further, finding more space between each rib. And I'll invite you to mimic that space between the ribs by spreading those fingers wide. And nice. And then from the reverse warrior, back to warrior two. From here, transitioning to the triangle. Thumb and forefinger find crease of hip and base of rib. Deepening that crease, lengthening those ribs. Keeping a little spring in the knee as you ground bottom hand down, either on shin, brick or bricks, outside the calf. We can use that top hand to good effect as we bring it onto our ribs, rotating those ribs nice. Now bringing the hand onto the shoulder to set the shoulder blade back and down. And now stretching hand high to the sky. Either looking down to the ground, off to the side, or up to the sky. With every breath in, gathering energy in your center of balance, 3 fingers below the navel. With every breath out from your center, finding more length through both arms, both legs, both ends of the spine. Nice. From here, I'll invite you to move towards your half moon. Top hand finds the hip, either one big step or a couple of steps in as you bring that back foot in towards the front foot. Setting your base, right hand off to the right. Once you have your base, lifting that back leg, no need to rush. And then we can use that top hand again as we bring it onto our ribs. So rotate our ribs, nice. Bring it to the shoulder to set that shoulder blade. And then stretching that hand high to the sky. And choosing a place to look that works for your breath and your balance, either down, off to the side, or up to the sky. And again, as we hold the shape with every in-breath, gathering energy in your center, with every out-breath from your center, finding more space in the shape from the inside out, connecting with the pulsation of the breath. Now let's land the easy way today. Top hand finds the hip. We land a short stance. Back foot comes down. No big deal. Hands find the hips as we come on up. Shifting weight onto the front foot, the right foot, as you lengthen your stance. Coming back to your warrior two. And from warrior two, a big windmill of the arms as we stretch out our shoulders for low lunge. And from low lunge, back to down dog, as you will. Deep, full breaths. And again, as we hold that down dog, coming back to Samarviti, same breath, an even inhale, an equally even exhale, in every aspect. So let's keep our heat up with that moving plank exercise, and then we'll do our second side. So I'll invite you to come forward to plank pose. On the exhale, navel to spine, as you lift the hips high. Inhaling forward to the plank. Exhaling, drawing it back. One more to go. Inhaling forward to plank. Exhaling, drawing it back. Taking it further. Inhaling forward to plank, and then finding your up dog with tucked toes. Make sure those shoulders stay engaged. You're going awfully big here. I want to make sure your shoulders stay happy. And then navel to spine as you lift the hips high. 2 more times here. Inhaling forward. Exhaling, drawing it back. 1 more to go here. Inhaling forward. Exhaling, drawing it back. How do your shoulders feel? You ready for the second side? Okay, because I could always treat you to a child's pose if you want to do that. Okay, you're good. Okay, excellent. Progressing. Big toes touch, heels slightly apart. Left leg high to the sky, high on the right toes. Keeping those shoulders just as they are, twisting from the torso. It doesn't have to be a big twist. Now stacking the hips, yeah, lifted leg straight, nice. Now bending that leg, opening up that hip. And then looking between the hands, bringing that foot on through, landing it lightly, spinning the back heel down, arms out to the side, and then overhead for our warrior one. Nice, beautiful. Bringing hands back to the hips, lengthening the stance if appropriate. And if you're already at your max, you'll stay right there. Once you've determined that you're at your max, or close to it, we'll stretch those hands high to the sky again. Now with the breath, without knocking anything over, gathering up the energy, inhaling. On the exhale, cactus arms. Breathing in, breathing out, keeping it fluid. Breathing in and breathing out. You might think about pulling silk threads and not ripping the threads. Inhale and exhale. 2 more to go. Breathing in, Last one, breathing in, breathing out in, holding. The elbows move back, the hands come with, rippling those fingers, open heart, open throat. You might lift the chin just a little bit. Nice. And then from here, let's bring hands to hips. We'll turn warrior one hips into warrior two hips as we open up the hips to face the side. And then finding one long arm, looking out over those front fingers with a steady and relaxed gaze. I like to think casting spell fingers, but Kathy thinks that's a little too much. A little too much. Now painting rainbows. Keep it fluid, keep it slow. Breathing in and breathing out. That's it. Breathing in and breathing out. Breathing in, yeah, really painting those rainbows, each finger a different color. Exhaling. Halfway down, breathing in and breathing out. Last two, breathing in and breathing out. Last one, breathing in. And we're going to hold. And you're going to reach up higher, you're going to reach down further, more space between each rib. And I'll invite you to really widen those fingers, mimicking the space between each rib. Yeah, nice, beautiful. Does that feel good on your hands? Mm-hmm. And then back to warrior two. From here, transitioning to our triangle, thumb and forefinger find crease of hip and base of rib. Deepening that crease, lengthening those ribs. And then we can use our shin. If you have a yoga elf or your bricks are close by, you can set your bricks up. And then we can use that top hand to good effect, bringing it onto our ribs. Yeah, rotating those ribs. Now finding the shoulder, opening up that shoulder, and then stretching hand high to the sky. Nice. And again, as we hold the shape, with every breath in, our diaphragm stretches down towards our navel, gathering energy or air into our lungs, also energy. And as you breathe out, the diaphragm relaxes and domes up to the heart. Air moves out of the lungs. And on that impetus, finding more length through all four limbs and both ends of the spine. Nice, beautiful. Now moving towards our half moon. Top hand finds the hip. Either one big step or a series of steps in. Take your time. Anytime we rush into a balance, usually it does not help. Left hand off to the left. Take your time. Lifting that back leg. And again, we can use our top hand to good effect as we bring it onto our ribs, rotating those ribs, and I find that so helpful. Opening up the shoulder, nice. And then stretching that hand high. Awesome. And again, yeah, you're pretty much in frame. Awesome. Such a good looking half moon. We do it every week, so hopefully practice makes perfect. Yoga. Perfect is the enemy of the good often. But
Always.
But you're looking pretty perfect today.
Mm-hmm.
Top hand finds the hip. We're going to land a short stance. No big deal. Okay, so just to do that one more time.
Oh, shorter.
Yeah, so you're going to land the short stance. You want to keep that hand down. You don't want to do too much at the same time. So let me just demo here.
I got it.
So the foot comes down. It's a lot easier than what you're doing. And then you just come up. Yeah. Hands find the hips. You're going to lengthen your stance. Finding your warrior two. And then a big windmill of the arms. As you stretch out your shoulders, there's lots of ways to windmill the arms. Feel free to get creative. And back to down dog, as you will. Awesome. You can take your time. From down dog shape, long, smooth breath in. Evenly, long, smooth breath out. Tail into that breath, bending the knees ever so slightly as you lift the tailbone just a little bit higher. And then looking between the hands as you mindfully make your way from it. Take a breath to find length, arcing the back. You really feel that arc. Exhaling, rounding the spine as you fold. So we're really working with our spine here. Inhaling, knees over toes, straight spine, neutral spine. As we find our chair pose. Holding our chair as we take it lower. Awesome. Let's play with the chair again as we lift up the heels and hold the chair. Really strengthening our Achilles tendon, our calf, our thighs, our hips. Now grounding those heels down from the strength of your legs, rising on up, a little back bend at the top. On the exhale, neutral spine, hands by your side. I'll ask you to face the camera. As we bring hands to heart, this time adding an isometric engagement. As we press those palms together, elbows wide, a tuck of the tail, a tuck of the chin, finding the strength of your center. This might even be a nice thing to do during the day when you're looking for a little more strength in whatever you've chosen to do, whether it's brewing a cup of tea, taking a walk, or helping a patron at the library.
I think they might feel funny.
It might feel funny if you do this.
Hi, how are you?
I'm gathering my inner strength.
Yeah.
What would you like to read today? And then lifting the chin, hands by your side. So step or jump our feet hip width apart. And we'll work with that fire breath again. This time inhaling an arms out to each side, inhaling. On the exhale, passing hands through center, and then switching across. We're halfway done. A couple more each way. One more each side. And then back up, and either stepping it or jumping it in. And I'll ask you to go sideways here. And we'll do another standing sequence before we lay down and relax. So finding our chair pose, knees over toes, hands overhead. Taking it lower. Lifting up onto the toes as we hold, yeah. Notice I try to keep it low, that's it. It's hard, yes, but good for us. Awesome. Now grounding down through those heels, strength of your legs rising on up, a little back bend at the top, and then a big swan dive over, back to your down dog as you go. And we're just keep it simple today. We're going to work through our swan or our pigeon set, and we'll start with the right leg. So big toes touch, heels slightly apart. Right leg high to the sky. High on the left toes. Keeping the shoulders just as they are, twisting from the torso, lifted leg straight. Now bending that lifted leg, opening up that hip. Now keeping the knee joint closed as we bring right knee towards right wrist. And then carefully walking the left foot back as we settle the hips. At a certain point, unfurling the foot, and we want that, the foot right in line with the ankle, nice. As we stabilize the shape. The tips of 10 fingers as we work the shoulder blades back and down onto the spine, open heart, open throat. And then keeping that sense of space in the spine, slowly tractioning yourself into a forward fold. Take your time here. You might, just like we've had the spread of the fingers to mimic space between each rib, I'm not going to have you spread the fingers, but just visualizing space between each vertebrae as you find the forward fold. In the forward fold, I'll invite you to keep the elbows lifted, but let the forehead heavy on down as we get a nice stretch in our upper back. As we hold the shape, putting your mind in your hips, they're not going to move, but energetically stretching the hips away from each other as we find more energetic space in the center of ourself. And breathing into that space. So let's walk the hands back in. And let's work a swan twist here. As we find a perpendicular form on the bent knee side of things. That's it. Outrigger hand, so that hand goes out to the side. And you're going to pull back with that form as you twist your torso any amount. So we've stabilized the hips here so we can really feel the twist of the torso. Yeah. Are your hips stable, or does it feel like your hips want to move?
Hips want to move.
Hips want to move. Okay, so try to keep the hips stable. You try to maximize the twist of the torso, and that's going to keep your sacrum in a safer place. We can certainly twist our hips, but when we start to add traction, we want to think about hip stabilization. Now we'll twist it the other way. We'll come back to center. We'll find that other form. We'll find that other outrigger hand, trying to keep the hips relatively stable. We want to maximize the twist of the torso. Thoracic spine, mid-spine tends to be super solid and stable for lots of great reasons. But if we can find a little more movement there, our low back doesn't have to work as hard, and our neck has less stress. Awesome. Now coming back center, we're going to fly the swan. Tips of 10 fingers, shoulder blades back and down. And then strong abdominal engagement as you sweep the hands out to the side and then overhead. And I know you like to do wrist movements here, so whatever feels right and good for your wrists. Maybe circles, maybe spreading those fingers. And I don't want to keep you here forever. As you come back down, grounding down through two palms. Yeah. tucking the back toes, finding a three-legged dog. Keeping that knee joint closed as you lift that leg high, and then very carefully, very deliberately opening up that knee. We've constricted the joint, so now we're inviting more prana, more flow, more energy, more blood to flow back into that place so it can heal if there's any healing that needs to be done. And then grounding down through that foot and either holding your down dog or cycling through vinyasa, your choice. All right, just to keep our energy up one more time here, we're going to work that moving plank pose as we inhale forward to plank. Exhaling, navel to spine, lifting hips high, high. Help hold it, be deliberate here, don't rush. Inhaling forward. Exhaling, taking it back. Inhaling forward. Exhaling, taking it back. Taking it further. And again, keep those shoulders engaged. We go pretty big on this. I want to make sure your back feels good. So coming through, hips get heavy. Navel to spine as you lift the hips high. Beautiful. Inhaling forward to up dog with tucked toes. Take your time. Navel to spine as you exhale and lift the hips high. One more to go here. Inhaling forward. And then exhaling, taking it back. How's your energy level? Do you need a child's pose?
I'm good.
You're good. Okay. Second side, we'll get right into it. Big toes touch, heels slightly apart. Left leg high to the sky. Keeping the shoulders just as they are, twisting from the torso, lifted leg straight, stacking the hips. Now bending that lifted leg, opening up that hip. Now keeping that knee joint closed as we bring left knee to left wrist, take your time. And then very deliberately, take your time on that one too, walking the foot back, settling the hips. Unfurling the foot to stabilize the shape. Finding the, you're looking good, looking great. The tips of 10 fingers, shoulder blades back and down, open heart, open throat. And then very deliberately finding a forward fold, do traction space between each vertebrae. So take your time here. And a lot of this is just, I know anatomically the spine doesn't stretch that much, but energetically you can feel a sense of space in there. And even if it's a fraction of a millimeter, why not, right? Go for it. And then, yeah, keeping the elbows lifted, but letting the forehead heavy on down as we get a nice stretch in the neck and upper back. Putting your mind in your hips. This is an action, not a movement. You're going to stretch the hips away from each other, finding more space in the very center of yourself. And breathing into that space. Now walking the hands back, we're going to find swan twist, so perpendicular form on the bent knee side of things. Other outrigger hand, and you want to keep the hips relatively stable, and you want to maximize the twist of the thoracic spine, the mid-back, any amount. Finding a little more freedom, a little more space in that place. So low back, upper back, don't have to work as hard because the whole spine's a little more supple. Now coming back center, we'll find that other perpendicular form, other outrigger hand. No need to rush here. You don't have to give yourself maximum traction. Just give yourself the right amount of traction that's right for your back. Nice smile on your face. And that's how you can usually tell if people are working at the right place. If they can smile, they're not working too hard, and they're not falling asleep. From here, let's come back center. Let's fly the swan. Tips of 10 fingers, shoulder blades back and down. Strong abdominal engagement as you draw everything up. Floating the arms out to the side. And then overhead. And then I'll invite you to add any wrist actions that feel right and good. Maybe some finger actions. Just waking up our hands. Our hands really pretty much dictate our hands and our feet. Our feet get us where we need to go. And once we get there, our hands usually do what we need to do. And then I'll invite you to come back down, finding two flat palms, yeah, when you're ready. And then tucking those back toes, finding your three-legged dog, keeping the knee joint closed as you lift that leg. And then very carefully, very deliberately opening up the knee. Inviting more prana, more vitality, more life force into the knee. We want to keep those knees happy. We want to keep the blood flowing and all the other stuff that flows, synovial fluid, etc. And then grounding on down and either holding that down dog or cycling through vinyasa, yogi's choice. All right. From down dog, long, smooth breath in. Equally long, smooth breath out. Tail end of that breath, bending the knees ever so slightly as you lift the tailbone a little higher. And then looking between the hands as you mindfully make your way to the front of your mat. Take a breath to find length when you arrive. On the exhale, folding. On the inhale, stay low. We'll come back to our chair, knees over toes, hands overhead. Exhaling, taking it lower, now holding the low stance as you lift up those heels. Any amount. Yeah, try to stay low when you do that. Nice. It's a lot harder, right? Yes. Now grounding down through those heels, rising on up a little, back bend at the top. On the exhale, neutral spine. Hands by your side. I'll invite you to face the camera, Kath. Here's another exercise that I like to do during the day to find my own inner strength as I intertwine the fingers. I keep the heels of the hands together, elbows wide as I try to pull those hands apart. A tuck of the tail, a tuck of the chin. And again, maybe you don't do this with a patron, but anytime you need to gather your strength. And then lifting the chin. Tall through the crown. Hands
Oh, and I
by your
probably
side.
could do mine. How may I help you?
Hi, may I help you?
How may I help you?
All right. Looks like we got time for a little bit of an on our back sequence. Let's do that with a little bit of flow. So I'll ask you to go sideways. Finding your chair pose. Inhaling. Taking it lower. Last time today. Try to stay low as you lift those heels. Nice. Yeah, nice. Now grounding down through the heels, really pushing into the heels as you rise on up, open heart, open throat, beautiful. And then a big swan dive over, finding your down dog as you go. Last one today, I promise. From down dog, I'll invite you to land the knees lightly as you find a child's pose, nestling your belly between your thighs. If you have a big belly like me, there's a physical connection between the belly and thighs. If you have a smaller belly, you just have an energetic connection. As you breathe in, letting your belly massage your thighs. As you breathe out, letting those thighs massage your belly, even if it's just on an energetic level. Connecting with a big ball of warmth in the very center of yourself. Again, I'll ask you to keep the elbows lifted, but let the forehead heavy on down. You get a nice subtle stretch in the upper back. Now walking those hands back as you bring your feet off to one side or the other. There's a more comfortable side. Maybe you play with going the other way, just to examine patterns of movement. And then coming to the top of the mat. Let's do some roll downs and roll ups just to, I think you're good here. So you've got your neutral spine, back of the head in line with the sacrum. Awesome. From here, finding C-spine as you tuck tail and chin, but maybe a little more active C-spine than that. We're not doing the forward fold. We're going to do a roll down. So yeah, keep your core engaged here. Now you're going to slowly lay yourself down. Slow, slow, slow. Nice. Staying grounded through the heels. You can always catch the back of the thighs here. On the inhale, full body stretch. So arms by the ears, not too low. Want to keep the ribs soft and drawing in. We don't want those ribs to get pokey. Low back's going to lift. Now you're going to roll it back up, flexing hands and feet, pressing the back into the mat to engage the core. If you need to catch the back of the thighs, do so. Take a breath to sit tall. On the exhale, C-spine. Yeah, keep it very active though, so it's not like a flop. Inhaling back to your tall spine. Exhaling C-spine, slow, 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 as you roll it on. There's no rush here, even though I'm cueing maybe a little faster than you want to move. Inhaling, full body stretch. We'll do one more after this. So full body stretch first. Yeah, there you go. Low back lifts. Now pressing the back into the mat as you roll it on up. When you get to the top, sitting tall. very active C-spine here as you stretch out your back. Inhaling, sitting tall. Exhaling, rolling it down. Take your time, even at that very first part there. Nice. Inhaling, full body stretch, the low back lifts. Exhaling, imprinting the spine into the mat as you roll it on up. Inhale, sit tall. Exhale, stretch it out. Inhale, sit tall again, and now finding that flop. Yeah, so you're gonna, I'm cueing you into a forward fold now. Second tall, good. And now you find the flop. Yeah, and just letting your back relax. Feel free to bend those knees. Tuck of the chin, great place to breathe into back heart. There's an affirmation that goes with these seated forward folds that I like. That hopefully you'll like it too. I go deep within to find all that I need. From here, let's do one more roll down. So finding your tall spine, strong legs. Finding a very active C-spine as you tuck tail and chin. Slowly rolling it down, laying each vertebrae down. We'll do one more hard thing before we lay down and relax. So take your time. So full body stretch, arms by the ears. Now I'll invite you to make an X with your body. So V with the arms, V with the legs. We want to imprint your back into the mat. So press your back into the mat hard to engage your core. Lifting the chin, lifting the head to tuck the chin. Now, so the arms probably never should have come down to the ground. So you want to lift your arms. Now you want to lift your legs. Keep pressing the back into the mat. Not too high though. You want to let it be less about the hip and more about your core. Nice, beautiful. Is there a little shake going on?
Mm-hmm.
Is it a good shake?
Oh my gosh, yes.
Awesome. Now you're going to find your Shavasana and doing whatever else you need to do. Tip of the tongue is neutral in the mouth. A slight part to the lips, but still breathing in and out through your nose. As we hold Shavasana, feeling the front plane of your body falling into your back plane. Both planes of the body heavying into the floor. And we won't be here too long. I'm going to ring these yoga bells 3 times. I'll get the bells on camera. Beautiful morning here in San Francisco. We had a big rainstorm a couple days ago. I'll invite you to move your mind before you move your body. Bring your attention back to your breath, watching as it flows in and out, like watching a river as a river flows by. From this place of just watching your breath, I'll invite you to shape your breath, and we'll start to vary the ratio between the inhale and the exhale. So a long, slow inhalation in, followed by a longer, slower exhalation out. Long, smooth breath in. Longer, smoother, slower breath out. Keeping this more relaxing breath, I'll invite you to press your back into the mat to recruit your core. As you draw one knee into the heart, the other knee follows. Hands cap the knees or the shins, and using your thighs to massage your low belly as you gently lift and lower your low back and hips. Front to back, side to side, little circles, whatever feels right and good for you. This pose is called Apanasana, a great pose for digestion as we digest the fruits of our practice. Now reaching back with a hand, keeping the neck relaxed, using that hand to lift and tuck the chin. Chin stays tucked as the hands come back to the shins, either keeping hands on shins or catching the back of the thighs as you start to rock yourself forward to back. Make sure it's comfortable. Massaging your spine. Why don't you have another little go there? And then popping on up and finding a cross-legged sit. As you sit, hands cap the knees, pulling back with the hands to settle the shoulders. A slight tuck of the chin as 2 hands find the heart. Ending our practice as we started. watching as our breath flows in and out. From this place of breath observation, I invite you to bow as you thank yourselves for practicing yoga and as we offer our practice out to each other and to the world. The light within us honors and respects the light within you. And in this light, we are one. Namaste.
Namaste.
Thank you at home for practicing with us. Thank you, Kathy, for practicing with me.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you, everyone.
And as always, namaste sounds so much like have a nice day, and we'll see you real soon.
Have a nice day.